I am better than Aziz, okay? Actually, this film is 1 hour and a half long. And you can watch it for free on one of our channels on the internet, which is called Islam in Women. Not Women in Islam. That's not a mistake. It's called Islam in Women, and you will now discover why. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulullah. All praise are due to Allah, the Creator, the Cherisher, and the Sustainer of this universe. And may His peace and blessings be upon His noble Prophet Muhammad and his descendants and his companions and his followers, dear respected audience. I made 2 other films before that one. So I made so far, alhamdulillah, 3 documentaries about Islam. The Fog is Lifting series, part 1, which is called Islam in Brief. It is today in 31 languages, including Hebrew, alhamdulillah. And then we made Jihad on Terrorism, about jihad and about terrorism, proving to people that they are not the same. And we filmed it in 7 countries, and it's in 17 languages so far, alhamdulillah, including Hebrew as well. And then I made Islam in Women. The difference between this one about women and the other 2 is that in the previous documentaries, I was expressing my views. But in this one, I did not express my views. After this point, you will not see me at all in the film, but you will see interviews with about 12 women from Hong Kong to the United States of America, in 12 countries. And what happened is, I was just learning from them all the time. So I'm a student of sheikhs and imams and scholars, but I'm also a student of women. I learned a lot from women, especially when I made that film. By the way, many of you may wonder, why did I start the film, or did I bring a lady that is not wearing hijab, while actually Muslim women are known with the hijab, especially, and they're known like that. In my documentaries, I prefer not to have women wearing niqab and not to have also Muslim women not wearing hijab. I always prefer the women wearing hijab so that this can be recognized easily as the Muslim women and they express their views. But in this film about Muslim women, I insisted to have everyone represented. So there was actually the woman before her in Belgium was also a non-hijabi woman who declined when we went there. And actually this happened twice. Once in Belgium and once in Sri Lanka, in Colombo. Imagine, I go all that way and the woman who was supposed to be interviewed declines at the last moment. But alhamdulillah, we found another sister also in Sri Lanka. So the issue is here, we insisted to have everyone represented. Niqabi women are represented and they speak. Non-hijabi women, they are represented and they speak. And of course also hijabi women are represented in the film. So this is just something that a point that I wanted to highlight for you. And it was amazing a learning process during this film, that we found that, for example, the secret behind the attraction of women more than men to Islam is a concept called freedom. And that was a shocking finding. I was expecting anything else. But no, most women that we interviewed said the most that attracted us is actually that Islam frees us, or freedom. And I started to hear this word a lot from them. It was really like shocking for us. Because the biggest allegation against Islam is that what? That it deprives women from freedom. It rips women off from their liberties and from their rights. So I learned from the women during the production of this film is that all what one has to do is to change the lens to see a different color, to see from a different angle, and to see a different image. So it's the same thing exactly. What some people see as freedom, some other people see it as shame. What some people see as extremism, some other people see it as modesty. All what one needs to do is to change the lens. And in working with non-Muslims, that's what we also told them. Change your lens, and you will see things differently. In Hong Kong, for example, one of the ladies, we actually interviewed 2 ladies from Hong Kong. One of them spoke about the misconception, which is that Islam doesn't allow women to go out and work and locks up women at home. That's one of the misconceptions. She said, I came to Islam mainly because of that. Because I didn't see it like that. When I understood, I found that Islam gave me the freedom to work or not. But every woman in Hong Kong should go out and work and put 50% of the food on the table and 50% of the rent. But Islam allows me not to work if I want. And if I work, my money is mine. So look how the same thing is seen by some people as an allegation about Islam, and some others see it as freedom. In Holland, for example, the Dutch woman said, Islam is seen that it makes people, it forces women to cover their bodies and cover their hair. I was working as a waitress, and I have seen how men treat me and look at me. And I always felt irritated with that. So for me, I didn't see it as Islam is forcing me to cover. I see that Islam is freeing me from being used by men as a tool of enjoyment. Just to look, if someone has a depression, when a man has a depression, he goes to the cafe and he buys a cold drink or a hot drink and he sits by the window. Not to watch men, to watch women. After 2 hours drinking his drink and watching women, he can give you a report. The best hair I have seen today was about 5:45 of the woman coming out from this side. And the best body I saw today is this. Said, Islam frees us from that. So Islam does not just change beliefs. Islam also changes perceptions. And maybe the best example I have seen of someone whom not just his beliefs were changed, but also his perceptions were changed is Umar ibn al-Khattab. May Allah be pleased with him. He changed from being misogynistic to someone who empowers women. He wasn't just misogynistic before Islam, no, even after Islam, he still had some misogynism. After Islam, he went once home in Medina, and his wife argued with him. He said, how come you argue with me, you woman? She said, how come you are angered of something that doesn't anger the Prophet? And he was actually the father-in-law of the Prophet, because his daughter, Hafsa, was one of the mothers of the believers. So he told her, did Hafsa tell you that she argues with her husband? She said, yes. He was angry because actually he doesn't want the Prophet to be upset. So he went and he knocked the doors of other women of the Prophet first, before he goes to he went to his own daughter, and he asked them, do you argue with the Prophet? And they said, yes. He gives us a big space of freedom of speech. So he went to his daughter's house and he told her, do you argue with your husband? She said, yes, I argue with the Prophet. He was so angry. She told him, listen, don't do anything to me. Don't punish me or anything. He's my husband, and he allows that. He said, okay, please, I want a permission to meet the Prophet. She went, and the Prophet permitted him in. And the Prophet, smiling, told him, come in, Omar, sit down. What's the problem between you and the women of Medina? He said, O Prophet of Allah, in Mecca, We were people who were ruling their houses, their households. And then when we came here, he didn't want to backbite the people, the Ansar of the Medina. He said, we came here to live with people whom their women started to teach our women their own attitude. He said, and who is the woman, O Umar? Isn't your mother a woman? And the Meccans have a lot of respect for the mothers. He said, oh yes, Prophet of Allah. He said, isn't your sister, the elder sister, a woman? And the Meccans look at the elder sisters like mothers. He said, oh yeah, Prophet of Allah. He said, then it's not about who's a man and who's a woman, Umar. The point is, after like 10 years from that, maybe less than 10 years, when Umar became the Khalifa, Amir Mu'mineen, he changed completely. On the minbar, he's giving a sermon, and he said something. And a woman stood up and argued with him. And she supported her argument with evidence from the Quran. And he said, Umar is mistaken and this woman is right. This could have never happened before. Umar appointed a woman to be the supervisor of the market. What does that mean? It means that she was able to shut down shops of some men and even punish them if she finds that they are cheating. So he changed. A man came once and knocking his door to complain from his wife, because his wife is giving him a hard time. And then he found Umar's wife arguing inside and maybe raising her voice, so he left. So Umar opened the door, he found the man leaving. He said, are you crazy? You knock people's doors and you leave? He said, I just came to complain to you from something that I found you suffering from. He said, what's wrong with you, man? A woman who cooks my food, takes care of my children, and cleans my house, and if I'm patient towards her attitude, I'll go to Jannah. How come I don't? Here the point is how Islam changes, not just beliefs, attitude in people. So throughout my life, I learned a lot from women, not just my mother. No, I learned not just from teachers. No, even my own trainees. I learned a lot from my own trainees. I remember a Scottish convert who taught me how to respond to one of the misconceptions. And I give workshops how to respond to misconceptions and difficult questions. And there was one of them, which is why Allah obligated women to cover their hair, but not men. Where's the equality in this? So this woman told me about an amazing answer that she gave. She told me, one day I was invited by one of my old non-Muslim colleagues to go and have dinner with her in her house and introduce me to her fiancé. Two non-Muslim people. So she went to her house, and she's outspoken. It looks like the other one got like a little bit jealous. So she wanted to embarrass her. She told her, okay, keep telling us about Islam. Why then, if you say men and women are equal in Islam, that Islam obligates on you to cover your hair, but not on men? She said the woman's fiancé is totally bald. No one knows if he's already that, or some men even shave their head totally because it's a fashion. So she looked at him and she told her, okay, can I ask you a question? Do you find John attractive? She said, yes, of course, I found him very attractive. She said, though he is totally bald. She said, yeah, it doesn't matter with me. She said, John, can I ask you a question? And you answer me frankly. If Susan was totally bald, will you take her out to dinner? And he said, I don't think so. She said, see? So the one who created men and women knows the impact of this hair on this sex and the impact of this hair on the opposite sex. So I learned that in Islam, men and women are equal, but not similar, not identical. Still, men are men and women are women. There are things that men can do better than women, and there are things that women can do better than men. So they should not compete, they should integrate. From the Quran, I learned that as a Muslim, my role model is who? Prophet Muhammad. Who else? 2 women. In Surah At-Tahrim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah sets forth an example to those who believe, to all believers, men and women, in the wife of Pharaoh who said, Lord, build me a house near you in paradise, save me from Pharaoh and his actions, and save me from the evildoers. And Mary, the daughter of Imran, she guarded her chastity, so we breathed into her from our spirit. She accepted the truth of her Lord's words and scriptures. She was truly devout. So as a Muslim man, Arab Muslim man, my role models among them are 2 women. That's not easy to tell Arab men 14 centuries ago. That wasn't easy at all. Not only that, their role model are women, not even Arab women. One of them is a Jewess. Mary, the mother of Jesus, son of Mary, is what? Is a Jewess. She was actually one of the sons, the Israelites. That's not easy to tell an Arab at that time. And the other one is a Copt, the wife of Pharaoh. She's Egyptian. She's not Arab. That's why Islam is a revolution. And here I don't want people to think that Islam is biased towards women. No, Islam is unbiased towards anyone, because also the example of all the disbelievers are 2 women as well. The next ayah in Surah At-Tahrim says, God has given examples of disbelievers, the wives of Noah and the wife of Lot, who married 2 of our righteous servants but betrayed them. But they betrayed their husbands, and their husbands could not help them against God. It was said, both of you enter the fire with the other. So Islam is neutral. Islam is not biased towards any gender. Islam taught me that women were given the right to vote 14 centuries before they were given the right to vote in Europe. In Uhud, when the Prophet, peace be upon him, got the information that there's an army of 4,000 men marching towards Medina, he gathered everyone in the mosque and people voted, men and women voted. Should they go out and meet them out of Medina, or should they wait in the streets of Medina and fight from street to street? And women voted. In the choice of the 3rd caliph, the competition became between Caliph Uthman ibn Affan and Caliph Ali ibn Abi Talib. May Allah be pleased with both of them. And here, what's his name? Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, who was the head of the elections committee, sent asking women who did not come in their houses, what do they think? Which one do they choose? Women were voting. Unfortunately, today, women are not voting in Arabia. Women voted before the suffragette movement in the United States and in Europe, and they voted without any fear or favor from anyone. I learned that if any society or individual oppresses women or discriminates against them, it is against Islam, not because of it. And I have to stop here because I was given the warning, though I spoke exactly the time that Amina spoke. Shouldn't I take double the time? No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. خلاص. Finished. تفضلي.